I'm thinking Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking San Francisco.
We
Those are my early thoughts.
and we are flipped
Yeah.
for the first time. Welcome everyone to the Jason and Osi Podcast, but we are not in our lazy boy chairs. Being very relaxed, a lazy boy. But we are chilling, and my man Osi, worldwide Osi, worldwide woman.
WWO.
I love that. That's game over. WWO. I'm done. I love it. That is so dope. WWO, worldwide Osi. Tell everyone where you are and then what you are doing. I'm so jealous. I'm so fascinated. It's good to be your friend because I get to hear about things like this.
Yeah, right now, if you look in the background over here, you can see all the giraffes and the... No, you can't see any of that?
Stop it. Stop it now.
No?
No. It's
That's
blurred.
not happening here.
You're sick. You're sick.
Hi, J-Bell. I am in Nairobi, Kenya.
Ooh.
Nairobi, Kenya. And, you know, we're here with let's just say the Uprise is having a camp here. We're here with some other people also, but apparently we're not allowed to say that they're here yet up until, yeah. So we're here with some other people, but let's just say the Uprise is here. And we had a fantastic camp here. And Nairobi, my first time, it was my second time here. First time I came, I didn't really stay. So this is like the time where I'm really getting a chance to see the city. And, you know, we're thinking about having the NFL Africa camp here, the main NFL Africa camp here in April. There's a chance that that's going to happen. So we're exploring, we're going around, we're seeing all the sites and the facilities. And J Bell, this place is absolutely stunning, bro.
Bring me in. I want to, you know.
It's hard to like explain because, okay, I'll give you an example, right? So there are all these beautiful infrastructure, all these high-rise buildings. You know, Nairobi is on the forefront of technology in terms of Africa, right? Yeah. So it's a very well-developed city in Africa. But running through the middle of the city is like the largest natural wildlife park probably in the world, right?
Through the city.
So right through the middle of the city.
Wow.
Right? So you can actually go on like safari in the middle of the city. So it's bizarre. It's bizarre to look at because you see all these high-rise buildings, right? Matter of fact, we had lunch today at a place where you're like overlooking a safari, basically. It's just like a massive expanse of land. And
it would be like a safari at Central Park.
Ridiculous, like right there. So like you sometimes you see cars driving by and they're like on the highway and they're stopping because you can see like buffalo and giraffes and I swear you can see them. And it's like, but the juxtaposition of like all that other stuff and then it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, and so just seeing that and, you know, seeing how they preserve that aspect of their culture, right? But they also have the other side too. It's been really fascinating, man. So happy to be here. Really excited. There's a lot of good things coming.
I mean, Africa is so fascinating. It's so big.
Yeah.
So many different cultures and things of that nature, but I can't even imagine what you're talking about.
It's bizarre. You have to see it.
And they planned this. They just planned building the city around.
They just built the city. They couldn't, like, there's so much stuff going on here. Have you ever heard of the Maasai tribe?
I think I have, but I'm quite ignorant on it though still.
Yeah. So the Maasai is like a tribe in Kenya. It's like one of the biggest. So you know the ones with the spears and their dress and all that.
Yes. That's
the Maasai tribe. So they used to live in Nairobi, right? The Maasai did. So in order for them to build up and do all the stuff that they wanted to do, they had to move the Maasai to the outskirts, right? But even though they moved them out, the Maasai still have the ability to come into the city and come into the area whenever they want. So sometimes you see them like herding their cows.
Like, they just walk through the city.
And you're like, what is going on here? Because it's a very well developed country. Like it's like New York. But then there's also
the cattle ranchers come through.
All this going on here is it's so cool, man. So cool. So cool.
It's so fascinating. You know, I like you breaking this down because, you know, I was up in Manchester doing the games, and I saw a lot of our podcast listeners. And even I was doing something in Birmingham the other day, and the podcast listeners come up and, you know, emphasizing how much they enjoy it. And I think this conversation, I mean, you're bringing us into something that, I mean, a lot of us have never experienced nor knew existed.
Yeah.
Which is so dope, man. That's so cool.
You gotta like, and I think this is where a lot of these countries, they need to be very, very strategic in how they're dealing with the NFL, because there are things here that through the NFL, people will get to see. They'll be like, what? Can you imagine how many people would hear what I'm saying now and want to come just to witness it, right?
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you start shooting like NFL docs and films, and people are seeing all of this going on, and now that invites so much tourism, man, because the places are so beautiful. It's so nice. Yeah.
Oh man, this is so cool.
We'll see. I can't wait for you to come out here, man.
I can't wait to be there, man. I love what the Uprise is doing. And, you know, a lot of things people see, to your point, are because of a situation, a scenario, going to see a game. Think about people that have seen certain states and countries because they follow the team. You know, and what you're doing now makes that accessible because of the connection. And I think it's a legacy builder, and it's crazy, bro. Crazy. Like, it's so wild. And
sometimes I sit down and I think about it. I'm like, how is this even happening? Like, how are they even here? Like, what is this?
Man, it's funny, man. I was reading something about the playoffs and team building and stuff like that. And the person was talking about the offensive line for Philly, talking about what teams have, right? And what's their strength. And he talked about Jordan Mailata. He talked about the IPP program. He talked about other players from that. And his thought process was, you know, because of that, you have this ability, if you have the right coaches, for this untapped resource where you can get it at I don't want to say a discount, but it's more accessible for team building purposes because you only got so much money. And he was like, this, you know, and I was like, you are thinking because you're absolutely right. And that's what you're doing. Man, this is amazing, man. You're a real CEO, making it happen during the season, watching games. How were you able to pull that off and get all your games in?
Now, oddly enough, you know, like I was able to wake up at certain, because I was still like, my time is all it's all messed up, right? So I was able to like watch the games, and the games this weekend were just, I mean, ridiculous. Bananas. Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. Bananas. We called the Buffalo Cincinnati game. We knew that was, we said this was, we thought Cincinnati was going to win, right? You could kind of see Buffalo fledgling a little bit. You're like, I don't know if they can beat Cincinnati, right? Yeah. But I do want to say this. I do want to say this in regards to that Buffalo Cincinnati game, right? I don't know if the NFL has ever seen a villain like Eli Apple. Eli Apple is Eli.
You called him a villain. I didn't know what direction you were going
in. He's a super Eli Apple's a super villain, bro.
For those that don't know, he's the corner number 20 for the Cincinnati Bengals, who at the end of the game put out some tweets that were villain type of tweets, no doubt. Villain.
And he's like Eli is Ghanaian too, and Ghanaians don't act like that. They don't behave like that. So I'm looking at this, and it's very, very funny. Like what he tweeted, he's like Cancun on 3.
He said go to. He told them boys it's time to go to vacation. Like
you guys are doing all this arguing. It was like Cancun on 3, and then one of the guys, Shaq Lawson, was like, "Oh, don't you disrespect my people like that? That gets you beat up." And he was like, "Well, it would have been nice if you would have had all this energy in the game. You guys would have won."
I mean, you know what's crazy about being a super villain?
You look at Shaq Lawson's stat line. It was like 0-0-0. He didn't do anything in the game.
Oh,
that is so
bad. What's bad. Well, you know what I appreciate about villains? I don't agree with doing that, but I appreciate, like, if Awuzie wouldn't have got hurt.
Yeah.
The other corner, who is a baller, right?
Yeah.
Eli was about to get benched.
Yeah.
But he don't care. Because you know what? The honey badger doesn't care.
Honey badger don't care, man.
And to your point, you know what? I didn't think about this, but we always talk about teams. And you have to have all these different personalities to truly be successful, to truly just go out there and do it. It's something about it. And the guy being that guy, I mean,
bro, Jason, think about Eli Apple's career. Think about all the stuff he's had to take, right? And it's like he has never been humbled. As many times as he's been beat, as many times as he's been like,
you say he's never been humbled.
Bro, he's still not humbled. Like, he is being torched sometimes, right? Like, people have said all kinds of stuff about him, and every opportunity that he gets, he's still a villain, man.
They literally blamed the Super Bowl on him last year, and he don't care.
He don't care. So shout out to Eli Apple, man. Shout out
for being a super villain.
Super villain. I love it, J Bell. I love it.
It's funny the stuff you pick out from week to week.
Man, the
stuff. The nuggets, you're like, nah, it's this. This is what's happened. That is true. He's a super villain. And them boys were a super villain on the field.
How did they like? Okay, couple of things, right? Those 2 games, right? The Buffalo and the Cincinnati, and then the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yep.
Those 2 games, it looked like varsity playing against JV.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
When I watched the Giants game, right? Giants against Philly, I was watching that game, and the Eagles were so much better.
Yeah.
It wasn't even, there was no comparison between the 2 teams. There was no comparison between the 2 teams, right?
Yeah.
And so watching that, you're like, man, the Giants are a good team though. Like they're good. How is this team so much better, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the conversation that we had when at the end of the season, when I was like, listen, I don't like what Brian Daboll did here in terms of resting the starters, right? For that particular game. And I laid out my reasons why, right?
You did.
And I think that throughout this year, that was the only coaching misstep that Brian Daboll made throughout this year. For me, that was the only blemish to me on his record. Watching, and it was evident when I was watching the game because that Philly team has destroyed the Giants like for so long now. They've beaten the Giants for so long. And
I see what you mean. Right.
Yeah, for so long. It didn't just start this year. For so long, this has been going on, right? Yeah. And to me, you had an opportunity to let the Philadelphia Eagles know in their moment of weakness, because they were weak at that point, right? Jalen was like still struggling,
trying to get back.
There was a lack of confidence. They were coming off of like a loss, and they just weren't playing well, right? You had an opportunity to like really hurt this football team, like really show them that this is exactly what this is going to be between us, no matter what the cost. Because
no matter parking lot in the grocery store, we're gonna fight.
This is what you and I are doing, right? Because talent wise, they're so much better, right? Talent wise, right? And at some point, you had to know you were going to meet this team. You were going to meet them, and so you gotta. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way I think. But I'm like, this particular Philadelphia Eagles team, you have to give them everything you got every single time you play them, so they know. And you didn't do it.
I agree, because when it's a rivalry, especially in your division, it's every time we meet up, it's going to be a scrap. Like you might win, I might win, but we're both coming out bloody.
Yep.
And that's how those conference games were. When I was I was in the NFC East when I first got in the NFL, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is different than those other games we play. This is physical, and you're right. You have to set that tone. But to your point, man, I think what we saw is what talent does. I mean, when you get to these Final Four games right here going into the Super Bowl, these are talented teams. The Giants maxed out, man. That's why we talk about Daboll. That's why the first thing we say when we talk about the Giants was Daboll, then it was Saquon, then Daniel Jones, now Daniel Jones and Saquon in that order. And it's because that guy had maximized everything out of that roster. What do we say in the beginning of the year? And a lot of people said that Eagles roster is stacked. It's loaded. It has talent everywhere. It's well put together. And that's what we saw. So to your point earlier, you better take a shot when you have it, because you're going to have to see them again. And the Eagles, man, we know the NFL is week to week. After that game, they scare me. They scare me for their next opponent. That is the San Francisco 49ers, because I know what you're saying before. Like, they stepped up as the bully. And that's how they played. They played physical, they played aggressive, and they never stopped.
Yeah. But I think they're going to have a hard time.
Talk to me about this. Talk to me about this. I need some Ostradamus, because I'm very conflicted. I'm leaning Eagles.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why, and then I want you to give me the knowledge I need. Okay. They're home. And the home field, I always look at it how it helps the defensive line. Their defensive line is dominant. One of the best defensive lines in football with San Francisco. And Brock Purdy has never seen a front like this season. That is my X factor in all this. There's all kind of other matchups, but I got to single it down to one thing. We know they got weapons, all of that. Brock Purdy's undefeated. He has never seen heat like this on defense.
That's true. All those things are correct. I'll say this. Sometimes, and my friends hate this, like when I'm playing FIFA, right? I'm playing FIFA, and they'll beat me, right? They'll beat me like, 1-0, 2-0. And I'll say to them, yeah, you won, but I'm not convinced. They can't stand.
Stop it. You're evil.
I swear. Like, I'm not convinced. You know what I mean? And it's just you know how when somebody
You're a menace.
beats you. No, but for real, you know how when somebody beats you, but deep down you know you're like, there's a way somebody beats you, right? There's a way somebody beats you that you're like, these guys. And then there's another way somebody beats you. You're like, you won, but I'm not really convinced by you.
I'm
right?
not scared of this.
Right. Now, when I watched that Philly game against the Giants, they got out to the fast league. They got out to the big league, right? But there was a point in that game where they started to falter.
Okay.
Right? They started to falter a little bit. They were making uncharacteristic mistakes, and they just didn't seem to have the, that I'm gonna like step on your, like I'm going to really like, they just don't seem to, they didn't seem to have that to me, man. And when I look at San Francisco and I look at their defense and what they're going to be able to do against the Eagles, and offensively, like San Francisco, they can play bully ball too, like it's not all going to rest on the shoulders of Brock Purdy. This isn't, San Francisco will never allow it to get into a game where it's, the Eagles D-line is just going to tee off on Purdy. They'll never let it get to that point, right? It's going to be this is going to be a battle of attrition, is what they like to call it. In no world is Philly going to go up on San Francisco 28-0. In no world is that going to happen, right? So they're going to be neck and neck. And I think that, San Francisco is just they're just the more cutthroat team to me. They are.
Yeah.
They're the more cutthroat team to me. This is where I think there's going to be a problem for Philly.
I agree with everything you're saying. And I guess my point comes down to, because I had to really file it down, because there's so many aspects of this game that are interesting, is that I think it is going to be close. And to your point, you know how you were saying you just felt like the Eagles kind of, they didn't finish? Well, they didn't. In the third and fourth quarter, it was field goals. They did get a touchdown in the fourth, but it's like, I think they did that because they were up and they were trying to conserve kind of, that mentality. But I'm with you. I just think this, in the playoffs, there's two things that I believe in as a formula, because you got 2 Super Bowls with it. It's a pass rush and a quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they dominate the game. I'm saying they got to make a play.
And in your opinion, do you think Jalen Hurts has more moxie than Brock Purdy from what you've seen so far?
Yes.
Do you think in that situation because J-Bell, I don't know. This Purdy fella, this guy, there's something about that cat, bro. There's something about that guy.
Oh, see, he's their starter going into next year.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
We've been waiting for him. Yeah, we've been waiting for him to show himself as the rookie that he is, and he just hasn't.
Last week, though, if and it's an if, so I know you can rebuttal an if so quickly. Trayvon Diggs doesn't drop that interception that was tipped by Anthony Barr. But it's an if.
Yeah.
But it's an if. So
and Dallas playing the way they play defense over these past 2 weeks, man. They you could say they're the best defense in football over the
one
past
of the top 3. Yep, they're balling.
Yeah, so that was never going to be an easy. That was going to be a tough road for him, right? And they still won.
Yeah, if you put Dak Prescott in that offense, in San Fran's offense, he would be killing.
Crazy.
Yeah. So once again, I do not know, but I do believe it comes down to, I have to go, which quarterback do I think can overcome adversity better, more often, and in the clutch situation, because of these defenses leading the game and attacking the QB? I gotta go. I gotta go with Hurts. I mean, the man was up for the MVP for most of the year.
I hear you. And on the other side, on the other side, there's been so much talk, and I want to dig into this a little bit.
Tell me, please.
Because the talk in the AFC for the past couple of seasons has been Mahomes, Josh Allen, right? Lamar Jackson, right? And we say Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, but we never really put him in that category, except for the fact that every time he's played them, he's won, which is a little strange. Why do you think that is?
I think
beating them every time.
So Mahomes, and he's beaten Mahomes, and even this season, when you look at the way he's played, he's the clear cut number one, in my opinion, the way he's played and what he's done. But to your point, there has been this argument that goes back and forth each year from who's that number two guy. And Josh Allen started pushing to be the number one before the season because of the talent. I think because of the wow, big, physical, strong, all that, highlights. But I think no more can you say that. That's over. Joe Burrow is number two.
How can you say Mahomes? How can you say Mahomes, right, over the past 3 seasons, right?
Oh, you can easily say it. I mean, I can easily say it.
Hold on. So you think about Joe Burrow, right? He was balling his rookie season, got injured, right?
True. Yeah.
Got injured.
He was balling too.
Balling. Came in the league balling.
Yeah.
Second year, took them to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Lost. Third year, they're on their way to another Super Bowl, right? So how do you say that as a quarterback, which we put wins and losses behind their name, right? And his particular job is to get wins and to get this team to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. How can I understand the talent factor. I understand what it looks like. But from a logical standpoint, how could we say that Mahomes is better? Like, how could we say that? Like, based upon the fact that he throws some nice no-look passes, or like how can we say that? Because I know everybody's saying that, but how do we say that?
I think, just using kind of your argument, I would say from what you just said, he won a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow hasn't. If
he won a Super Bowl like a couple of years ago. It's been like, I said, over the past 3 years.
So it doesn't matter. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter when you win a Super Bowl then. I thought when I was listening to you, I'm thinking we're talking about 1 and 2. So we're saying they're the best. So first of all, I'm saying they're the best. I believe in it. They're 1 and 2 to me. And you're asking
Burrow.
Why?
You mean Mahomes and Burrow?
Yeah, they're the 1 and 2. They're 1A, 1B in my opinion. And so now you're telling me, why is Mahomes 1A over Joe Burrow? Yes. And I say because this season, what Mahomes has done has been amazing. What Burrow's done too. But if you put in the whole season together, there's a reason why he's the top odds for MVP. The way he's played, OC. Yeah. Last year, they kind of tried to take away, they made it hard for him, taking away everything. And he adjusted well, taking away the deep stuff. The way he is dicing teams up over the middle, and he's unstoppable in his approach and what he's doing. And we did say that if you took him out of there, that team falls apart. I'm very happy that they were able to get that, drive and score with Henny. I love how the offensive line stepped up when he was out, but we're talking 2 of the best, but you got to pick one. One of them has a Super Bowl and one of them's probably going to be MVP this year.
Fair point. I agree with you. So let me ask you this then. Let's say, for instance, Joe Burrow, they win this game, which will make him 4-0 against Patrick Mahomes. They win this game, they go on to win the Super Bowl, right? Do you think we now say Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football? Do you think we say that? I
think we do if that happens. How do you not? If he beats him 4 times and then wins a Super Bowl, how do you not say he's the best?
Yeah. And my point is, even if that does happen, right? For some reason, I think we'll find a way to not say Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football.
I think I love your cynicism, but I think people will say he's the best.
You think they'll just be like, yeah, cool. They'll just accept it.
Think of what you just said. Just use your words. He beat Mahomes 4 times and wins the Super Bowl.
Mm.
How is he not the best?
Yeah.
You know, like, and then it's just like he's written it. Now, the way he wasn't crowned the best, he had to go get it, which makes perfect sense when you're talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah. It's interesting. I like that cat, man.
I love him, man. He's my favorite player in the NFL.
Yeah. I like that
And I've
cat.
never had a quarterback that was my favorite player. Like, except Randall Cunningham back in the day. I liked Randall.
Randall Cunningham. Okay. What else you got for us, J-Bell?
I mean, well, I gotta have something. You the one living it up, and you know what I'm saying.
I'm on the other side of the world, bro. I'm on the other side of the world. What do you want me to do? I don't even know what's going on in England or America right now. I'm driving by elephants and giraffes and
Oh my gosh!
It's a different lifestyle over here, man.
I will say this: you are busy. You're going back to stuff. Do you think so? Your thoughts on this early in the games? You thinking? What are your thoughts on the games, win or losers? I just want to know.
I'm thinking Cincinnati, and I'm thinking San Francisco. Those are my early thoughts.
And we are flipped for the first time. And I just think that I don't know how that offensive line for Cincinnati, they held up against the Bills, but this defensive line and the way Spags is going to get after him is going to be different. If you cut the head off a snake, and Joe Burrow, man, as good as he is with that pressure, if he gets sacked 3 or 4 times, 4 times they lose. Yeah, and it could happen. I don't know, but it's that scares me.
You know what? You know the truth, J-Bell? The truth is I'm not convinced by Kansas City. I'm not convinced by them.
Are you convinced by Cincinnati, or are you just not convinced by either? Because I don't know, man. I'm either way.
Yeah, I'm really not overly convinced by either, but I'm really not convinced by Kansas City. To me, they remind me a little bit of my feelings towards the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by Kansas City.
I have a sunk cost
and even if they do,
Kansas City.
Yeah,
because I said beginning of the year they were going to be in the Super Bowl probably versus did I say San Fran or Philly? I said San Fran or Philly. One of those. But yeah, so I'm kind of chasing my pick more than anything because I can go either way.
Yep, I got you. Yeah. So that's just my problem with Kansas City, and then even Philly also. I like the way they beat the Giants. Like they put them in their place. But when I was watching that game, there's some vulnerability there. Yeah, there's some vulnerability there.
But these are the 4. These 4 teams are the best. Do you think?
Hands down.
Me too.
Hands down. The best 4 made it. Hands down.
Yeah, the best 4 made it. You're right.
Those are the right 4 teams.
They're the right. I want San Francisco to be there. I want it to be San Francisco, KC. But it could go either way, and it's going. Yeah, and it could be anything, anyway. It's hard. That's why I'm digging for some nuggets from you, and you gave me some, so I appreciate that, my brother.
Yeah,
I needed that.
Yes,
I needed that. Well, I want you to go back to making big moves, making big acquisitions. Get on the plane. I need you.
Yeah.
Friday.
I'll be back. Yeah. I'll be there. Hopefully.
Get back safely. Have a good time. I appreciate you coming and doing this, man. It's not easy when you're on the road making it happen, but you always come with the nuggets, so the people need it. And for all the podcast listeners that gave us shout outs, that gave me shout outs for us on the road, we appreciate you. Next time Osi will be there. We got to figure out how to get him there. It's gonna cost a lot of money, but we'll make some. You trying to get Osi out of his man cave on a Sunday night? Well.
Woo. Fresh off a nice 2-hour soccer game.
Ooh.
That's going to be a tough proposition.
That's going to be tough.
Tough
oh,
proposition.
Man. Till next time, I see you this week, my brother, Lazy Boy.
Yes,
Lazy Boy.
Lazy Boy.
Uprise all day. We don't play. Uprise is making it happen worldwide. Worldwide OC. Holla at him. Let him know.
WWO.
Now we live life. Suck de la soir. Girlies wanna come, hang, bang, all the above. 4 or 5 of your stomach. 9 shots, say you on it. Killers open up the bonnet. Getting money, yeah, I got it. This year's me and I. Fully focused on myself. Oh, you tryna be authentic. Busy tryna get this wealth. Galley, swag, Louis. Galley, swag.